And we're live. Look at that. We are live. Hey everyone. No one's here yet, which is fine, Let me actually see. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Okay, it's gonna have to be this way. You know me, I hate videos being in this mode instead of horizontal. But do I want to redo this? This way? No, I definitely don't want to redo it that way. And I don't want to redo it that way. You know what? This is just how it's going to be. Oh my God, I even have a person. Can I check and see who's watching? This is not my first time doing a, oh my God, I've got effects and everything. Okay, let's just go normal. Chat options, show chat. Okay, yes, let's show chat. So y'all, you can chat with me. You can chat with me if you want during this video. Let me just see. I don't want to stop streaming. Cancel. Normal. Now make this little screen go away. There we go. Good. So, you can chat with me during this video. So if you got something to say, why don't you just say it? And I have this phone clipped to, we're gonna be slightly at an angle this way. So anyway, and let me see before I get on the road, if I can check my Google Maps directions while we're doing this. Can I? But hopefully we're gonna find out if,
Continue on West Fleet Street for a half mile.
then I'm good. That's all I need. As long as Google Maps can guide me while I'm driving, we're good to go. So hi everyone, do we need that? No, that light doesn't help anything. In fact, maybe I can set an effect that makes me look a little brighter. This I should not be doing while driving, but let's see. Normal or that. That looks better. I like the look of that. Anyway. So, if you, Glamour, it's called Glamour. So if you guys are viewing this live with me, feel free to chime in. I am Honey LaBronx, also known as the vegan.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto North Alois Street.
I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced, but I'm Honey LaBronx, also known as the vegan drag queen. You can check out my cooking show at Vegan Drag. Ben, stop messing with it. Of course, my boy name is Ben Strothman.
Turn right onto North Alois Street, then turn left onto the
You're
US
about
41
to hear a
South
lot
ramp.
of instructions coming at you through Google Maps, but we like those. We welcome those because I don't think I can get to Chicago without them. Oh, I just realized I forgot to get any kind of headache medicine. I'll just deal with having a headache, and I forgot to get any water, but hopefully my mom has some water in her trunk. Anywho,
turn left onto the US 41 South ramp, then merge onto Wisconsin 175.
There we go. So I'm in Wisconsin visiting family. My family is up north right now for the most part, and I chose not to go up north with them. I would have loved to, but I ended up staying in Milwaukee over the weekend, and it was just easier because I had a lot of work to do to get prepared for my several.
Continue on Wisconsin 175 for a half mile.
Okay. You know what? I love technology. I'm just gonna say it. I am driving, and I have a video camera recording me, probably in pretty high quality. As I'm just
in a quarter mile, use the left lane to take exit
connecting
38A
with
for
however many
I-94 East.
So, well, I'm just connecting with a whole mess of people, you know, or maybe twos or threes of people, and nothing required, no fancy equipment. It just pop my phone onto the.
Use the left lane to take exit 38A,
start recording.
then merge onto I-94
And it doesn't even need
East.
to record to my phone's memory. It's all going into the cloud. I love it. If you had shown me this setup when I was like 14 years old, I would have been like, you're kidding me. I remember when I was 14 years old, I thought it was, or 15, 14 or 15. I thought it was awesome that on my friend's Mac, not my Mac was not that advanced. On my friend's Mac, you could send someone an email and attach a QuickTime video of your...
Continue on I-94 East for 2 miles.
I don't know where you do your skiing.
In 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to take the I-43 exit toward I-94, Beloit.
All right. So anyway, you can check out my cooking show at dryqueen.com, my podcast, bigfatveganradio.com. I'm the world's most cautious driver, so I'm going to be really keeping an eye on the road here. I'm not that I'm cautious. I don't drive often, and so I drive kind of slow. I should not be the guy in the left lane. I don't drive often enough that I'm like, how is that irritating to people? And then everyone's passing me up. So that's where you can find me. I'm on all social media as @Reconnect. All right, looks like we're gonna try to reconnect here. Can I get over? Can I get over? I guess I can get over. Let's see what happens. If you're a fan of mine, or if you're just meeting me or discovering me for the first time, if you want to support my work, and I really suggest that you do, you can support my work for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com.
In a half mile, use the right 2 lanes to take the I-43 exit toward I-94, Beloit.
All right, copy that. So for as little as $1 a month, you can help support my work. If you're not familiar with my work, you'll probably get a sense of what I do as I do this year in review.
Use the right 2 lanes to take the I-43 exit.
I'll start the year in review once I get on the freeway here. By the way, I don't think
in a quarter mile, merge onto I-94 East.
All right. It's not like I think I'm so interesting that, oh my God, people need to hear what... No, it's not that. I have a social media, I have some subscribers, I have some followers on the tubes and the grams and the whatnots. Really, I was getting a little sentimental because, you know, I've had them supporting me now for most of them for a little over half a year.
Continue on I-94 East for 43 miles.
And so I thought, you know, at the end of 2017, looking forward to a new year, I am a different me. I am in a different place in my life, and that is thanks in large part to my Patreon supporters for making my work possible. I don't make a lot right now on Patreon. I have maybe 31 supporters monthly. And it doesn't bring in a lot. It brings in, oh, I just realized tomorrow's the 1st. I'm worried about money. And so on the 1st tomorrow, my Patreon account will hit my PayPal, and then I can just go and put that right in my checking account. Good. See, that's how it works. When I'm like out traveling the world, doing something crazy, taking a moment where I'm like, ooh, oh my God, toll is going to be, how much is going to be to, you know, what if I have to rent a theater, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the other thing that really made a big difference for me this year was just me taking on my life in a way that I never have before. You've probably heard me talk a lot about the Landmark Forum years ago, changed my dang life. And as a graduate of the Landmark Forum, I go back and take seminars every now and then. And each seminar, there's I think 50 or so different seminars you can take. Each one's a 10-week. There's a reason I'm setting all this up. Each one's like a 10-week seminar over the course of about 3 or 4 months. And you go back for like 3 hours every week or so. And you just kind of like learn some new concepts that are based on what you already know. And so I think the first seminar I took this year was the Velocity Seminar. I heard some really great things about it. But honestly, more importantly, I had recently reviewed the Landmark Forum, and I thought, what the hell? When you reviewed the forum, so what the heck? I'll take my free seminar, and I just put myself in the Velocity Seminar, like, okay, whatever. I'll be back in the conversation. So, you know, I'll get something out of it. And the woman who led the seminar, her name was Jerry Newman, I think. Kind of sounds like if Seinfeld and Newman had a baby. And just her way of being really impressed me. She's just what I picture like a tough old New York broad with like flame orange hair and just like a real winner in her own life. Like it's just like a kingpin in the advertising business and won many awards. And I really got from this seminar towards the beginning of it that the only way I was really going to get value out of it is if I put something at stake in my life. Like, not to just sit there passively waiting for something to happen to me, but, you know, what am I here for? What am I putting on the line? Like, what am I here to cause in my life? And then I thought, like, you know, velocity, like, it was all about accomplishing breakthrough results in your life, but without having to exert force. Because, you know, when things are just happening, you don't have the experience that you're forcing it. Things just kind of happen with velocity. Anywho, I thought, where is there an area of my life that I would love to just have a breakthrough? And a career. There we go. I thought in my career, you know, I don't know at this point in my life, I was 37. I've lived in New York for 16 and a half years at this point. Do I want to finally do what I came here to do and make a go of it and try to be a Broadway actor, which is what I thought I've always wanted to do? Or do I, you know, want to get my photography business going to the point where it's bringing in a certain amount of money each month? And neither of those things really, something about performing spoke to me. So in a performing coach system, I was working on my audition material, working on my delivery of a song with a great performance coach by the name of Kimberly Vaughn. If you live in New York City and you're a musician, you owe it to yourself to let this woman guide you. And if she ever recommends another teacher, she's like, I want you to take this upcoming course with this teacher. I don't care if you have to move heaven and earth. I don't care if you have a prior commitment. Do it, because everyone she's had me work with has just been great. So I started performing again, and I dusted myself off, and I got to a point where I was like, I am ready to go out and sing at open mics and whatnot. And I thought I was gonna make a goal of going every week to an open mic at Piano Bar with a group of friends and just get up and sing once a week. Every week I get up and sing in front of friends. I mean, listen, I live right down the block from some of the greatest, a few blocks away, from some of the greatest piano bars in New York City. Places where I imagined I was gonna go all the time once I moved to New York. You know what? I really could drive faster because everyone in Chicago drives like a maniac. And so if everyone else is passing me up, the least I can do is keep up with them. So, wow, that means we're going 70 and the speed limit's 50. All right. Anyway, this will get me to Chicago faster. So I started doing that, but then I kind of realized maybe halfway into my velocity course that, you know what I could really use velocity with? You know, almost 4 years prior, I had filmed several new episodes of my vegan drag queen cooking show, but I never touched the footage because it's the first time I ever got a 2-camera edit. And so I thought, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. Editing footage together from 2 cameras, that's a lot of work, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you know what? I would just love to be able to sit down and bang out an episode. And I know that if I could do weekly episodes, my show would finally really catch on. I think the reason my show doesn't catch on any more than it has is because I'm not regularly releasing content, not on any predictable schedule. So I decided to give my word to something crazy. I'm like, you know what? From now on, new episodes every... Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I sat down and I busted out the first new episode that I had done in years. And I'm so happy those episodes are up now. And they're already so old. I don't even look like that anymore. But I got that out. And then as soon as I posted that episode, I ended it. Either I ended it with this in the credits, or I posted somewhere on somewhere. I said, new episodes every week. Now, I didn't say what day of the week. In my mind, they were going to go up on Monday. But I gave my word, like, new episodes every week. And look, I didn't stick to that long term. But for the next, like, 4 or 5 weeks, maybe with the exception of, like, 1 week, I released an episode every week. Like, and in order to do that, I had to structure my week. So, like, okay, I got to sit, you know, I'm not going to sit down and do a 20-hour day throwing myself against this video, trying to edit it on a Tuesday, and I'd spend enough hours that I got the storyline out, and then a few days later I'd sit down and work on it more and more, and I would just kind of work on it throughout the week. And I found it really easy to edit, like, episodes. I think I posted 5 or 6 new episodes within like a 2-month period, which is more episodes than I ever released ever in years. So that's one of the first breakthroughs that I really caused, using the distinctions. I'm still here, it's just I'm going through an area where there's no overhead lights. So distinctions that I was learning in the velocity course, I caused that. And then I realized, through some kind of miracle, I realized, okay, I might go down to Irvine, California to see a friend of mine on this one weekend in like late April or early May, I forget when. And I look at my calendar, and on my calendar I had a goal I had put down from a year prior saying, for that week, to LA for RuPaul's Drag Con, ? And I said to my friends, I'm like, oh, well, too late now. That's like 6 weeks away. You know, it's too late now. And my friends look at me like, says who? Mr. Anything's Possible. And I'm like, well, damn. All right. And I, through the generosity of a well-fed world who helps sponsor some of my projects and some of the work I do, and thank you to the supporters of Big Fat Vegan Radio, whose support helped me put down the deposit for the booth. I got a booth at RuPaul's Drag Con. I put the word out on Facebook. I'm like, I'm coming to LA. I don't know anyone in LA. And I found JC Rodriguez and his friend Cesar Alvarez. JC and Caesar in LA, who lived like a few blocks from the convention center where DragCon was being held. And they're like, duh, you can stay here. And I'd been Facebook friends with JC for a long time. And he's one of those vegans where like every single protest for the animals, like awesome guy. So, and then the next step was I had to have merch made. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do at DragCon? You know, I mean, I need merch. So my mom helped me front the cost of 100 t-shirts. I was able to make t-shirts because in re-releasing my cooking show, I had to make a logo. I'm like, I need a good logo. And so I went on YouTube, how to make a logo from text in Photoshop, and I followed some tutorials. A big thank you to either it was my in Gisle, or I think it might have been my friend Starri Hoiksen. I forget which one, maybe Starri. One of them even suggested a certain font that was close to what I was using, but when I saw his font, I'm like, this is perfect. And I made this like sign, like a Logan drag queen with Honey LaBronx. I had my t-shirts printed up. I had fridge magnets, buttons, stickers made up. I had a caricature done of me years ago by this wonderful cartoon illustrator, Philip Orozco, who just let me use that for stickers and buttons and whatnot. And I had this photographer like 7 years ago, and I really liked the guy and the work that he did. He did this photo shoot of me where he took a picture of me out of drag and then a picture of me in drag and photoshopped them together, so it's like me and me in a kitchen, and Honey LaBronx is feeding Ben something off of a wooden spoon, and Ben's making like a gross yuck face. And he had agreed years ago, like, oh yeah, I'll give you the high-res image if you want to, you know, and you can use it for whatever. Well, he wasn't getting back to me for months, and I'm like, I really need this image. I'm getting ready to go to DragCon. I need to have a, you know, artwork created, logos created, signage created, and he finally gets back to me and wouldn't let me use it. Why is someone flashing their brights at me? Go ahead, flash your brights at me. You want me to just slow down? Go around me. The speed limit's fucking 50. I'm going 70. And? Yeah, thank you, fib. Nope, it's Wisconsin license. Don't flash your brights at someone. You go around me or you deal with me. I would love to flash my brights at them right now. I would love to do that, but I'm not gonna. I am learning something, and it took until the last week of 2017 to learn it. I am one of the angriest people I've ever met. Oh, I'm angry. And look, I have good reason to be, but it doesn't mean I can afford to be. I cannot afford this much anger. I'm a very angry person. Politics, what's going on in the world, what's going on in Chechnya. I had a dream that I called a travel agent who was sending people to Chechnya for like vacations, and I'm like begging her, I'm like, you can't keep sending people to Chechnya. They're killing gay people in Chechnya. And so like the Trump administration, the gay Holocaust in Chechnya, finally coming out publicly as a Palestinian human rights activist. I'm not Palestinian, but I am a stand for Palestinian human rights and dignity. And, you know, the more I look at what's going on in Israel and how they're treating the Palestinians, I'm just so angry. And I'm realizing on this trip home, like, that anger is gonna... I've got just over 9 years sober, 9.5 years sober almost, and if anything's ever gonna make me drink or use again, it's this anger. So anyway, back to the story. This photographer wouldn't let me use this image. He's like, it's not for commercial use, so I can sell it to you for this much money for 1 year's use. And I'm like, you know what? No worries. Thank you. I'm a photographer too. I will. And I had a friend who's a wonderful photographer. I had him take a photo of me out of drag and then in drag in my kitchen, recreating the same exact pose, only doing it in my kitchen where my new cooking show is filmed. Picture now, which starts each of my cooking show episodes, and it's a fridge magnet, and it's on my flyers and all my social media. So I have this wonderful new logo, and I'm so grateful to have that. Is this helping you see me? That's not helping you see me in a flattering way. Anyway, whatever, you can deal with me. So I had the merch made. Now, before I went down to DragCon, that was in about April, but at the first or second, I think the first, because it was like February 13th, it was like my Valentine's Day gift, of course, who just happened to be the person at Landmark, Adam Santos Coy. He was a staff member at the time when I first called Landmark to be like, fine, I'll do this for him. He is the person who I talk to. If I'm gonna blah, 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 blah. And I gave him all my fears and all my concerns and everything that I was like upset about. And he was like, yeah, got it. He was so great with me. Well, I'd never met him, And when we're meeting everyone in the class, he stands up and he says his name, and I'm like, that's the guy that registered me into my Landmark forum. And he stood up to be a team leader, and I made a beeline to him. I'm like, you are the reason I'm here. And I'm an introduction leader. I am now a program leader of some of Landmark's work, and like, I have you to thank. So he became my coach. That night, I'm standing out with my partner, and I'm standing outside drinking a full sugar Red Bull with a bag of Skittles. And Adam looks at them and looks up at me, and he kind of gives me a one so super fit. And he's like, we're going to address your fitness, or however he said, your diet, your fitness. Basically, we're going to address how out of shape you are. And now at this point in my life, I had I'd just gotten back from Iceland the previous summer, and when I went to Iceland and then Berlin, oh, look at that, I got a like. I don't know that that person's still watching, but they gave me a like. Back from Berlin and Iceland in 2016, while I was over there, I abandoned my diet and I didn't go to the gym. And I gained so much weight so quickly. Real talk, it was probably 10 pounds or so, but then that 10 pounds caused me to gain more weight, and I probably put on 15 or so pounds in a really short amount of time. So even though I had gotten over mono from the autumn before, the autumn/winter before, now I had developed sleep apnea, and I discovered in like October that I had sleep apnea. No. I'm mixing my stories. I didn't discover in October. Okay, so I discovered probably in like around February that I had sleep apnea, because I put on so much weight that basically I couldn't really breathe at night when I was sleeping, and I had an overnight sleep. My heart was bothering me. My heart felt kind of a weird pain when I would do push-ups, probably all the Red Bull. And I noticed that they had a sleep lab, and I'm like, hey, let's do a sleep study. If my insurance covers it, why not? Let's do it. And I was thinking more for like my other sleep issues. I didn't realize, and they found that I had sleep apnea. I'm giving you a waking up 5 times an hour, not waking up, but 5 times an hour, I stopped breathing. And if or more times, it's considered sleep apnea. And I was wondering why, since October, I feel like I hadn't slept. I would get home, and like, I would just be like, I need a nap. I just, like, I would get home at 5 o'clock. It was just like, I thought my mono came back. And no matter how long I slept, I could not feel like I was rested, because sleeping wasn't doing the trick. Sleeping was not giving me, it wasn't regenerating or rejuvenating me. So I got a CPAP machine, one of those like elephant trunk tube things that hooks up to your nose, and I had to learn how to breathe through that while sleeping, which took 2 weeks to get used to. So now there's another reason I can't sleep for 2 weeks. But finally it took. And I got used to the CPAP, and I had my first night of restful sleep in probably 3 or 4 months. And that helped me to start going back to the gym. I think I was dabbling at the gym, but I couldn't really get anything done there. I felt so weak. And so my workout, like, reconnecting, and are we reconnected? Are we reconnected? Are we reconnected? Yeah, it looks like we're reconnected. Good. Anyway, so that around the course, and on February 13th, after our first class, and after Adam said that to me about we're going to address my fitness, Nicole and I went out to a diner, and I was having usual veggie burgers, fries, talking about how over it I was there for 2 years. And while best thing he taught me is he taught me to suffer. He taught me how to tolerate suffering when I'm at the gym and I'm suffering, and how to just be there and stay with it and let myself suffer while pushing myself. And it's a great lesson. And yet, here I am, fat, I'm like, you know what, maybe I'm just destined person, and maybe I'm just not meant to. Maybe I'm just not meant to be in shape. And that was really depressing, because look, I want to have a great sex life in New York City. I want to be in shape, and not just that, but like I have energy for drag and dancing. And Nicole said to me, she's like, well, you already know what to do. And it was what she said, but what hit me was, you know what? I've done this before. I've transformed my body in 12 weeks doing body. That worked, but I've never again tried using what worked. So I went back to Body for Life, and what really helped me with Body, 6 days a week I go to the gym, 6 days a week, and then 1 day a week I don't work out and I eat whatever I want as I want. And those 12 weeks really made a difference. Those 12 weeks I really, look, I'm not saying I was some hard body or I had like six-pack abs, but I really got back in great shape, and I felt really confident with the shape that I was in. And I would say, when did I finish that? When did I finish Body for Life? Well, anyway, I did that for about, and I took a picture of myself every single day. I had a spare camera set up, and I had it stationed in one spot, and every single day I took a forward, side, and back shot, with underwear and without, because I want to see how everything looks. Like, I want to see how my booty's looking. And I went from looking like a capital P to like looking upright and fit and hot. Have the breakthrough in my physique. I feel like I'm for the first time in my life, we're not back Indian bucks. And you know, I found that what really worked was not having my meal, what my go-to meals are, like spinach, you know, tofu and beans and rice, blah blah blah. And then I boom, just do that. A protein bar or a protein shake. And I learned, as much as I love food, I'm really happy to eat a protein bar every 3 hours. You know, and stop and think about food. Whole meal for 50, you know? So that really helped. So anyway, now here I am. I'm teaching the Introduction Leaders program in April. Enormous connecting, reconnecting, 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 reconnecting. Okay, great. We're back on. We're back on. All right. So anyway, where was I? So around this, I just from the Intro Leaders program. I finished that in April. I think like April 15th or so. And I could go on about all the breakthroughs that I learned how to take on my life. I really learned how to prepare, how to be accountable. I don't even think I can put in words what I learned because it's so become a part of who I am, being a coach. There we go. So I'd finished coaching that, and now it was time to go to LA. So I went to LA for RuPaul's Drag Con. So many people went out of their way to help me with this thing. My friend Freddie let me borrow Irvin, take it to LA to do my cooking demo. Wendy Edwards helped with so much. So many friends came together and gave me so many pieces of the puzzle that I was able to have, signage made up, banners, wristbands, stickers, buttons, magnets, t-shirts. I did cooking demos at DragCon. I showed people how to make, nacho cheese that you make and I showed them how to make it went so well. I got volunteered up and helped me booth. Like I made so many new friends in LA, and I met Matt and Jonathan, who were there. Jonathan was there from Knoxville, Tennessee, and Francisco. They're two like really good friends. Them when I was setting up, and I was a girl, and they're like, "We know who you are. We're big on." It was just really an awesome experience. Up the drag, got hung out in February, and I didn't see her again until drag. Being at DragCon and seeing my drag mom at DragCon as the DragCon, it was a great experience. It wasn't a financial success. Like I didn't really make a profit. Well, because thanks to A Well-Fed World, they helped cover my expenses for this trip. So I didn't come out of pocket. I made from selling merch.
Welcome to Illinois.
In this lane. So I'm in Illinois. Anyway, I was just those half days of DragCon. Right after DragCon, stay up all night and go to the airport and catch a 6 hour. But I really and Caesar like wanted to hang out and have fun, is a visit with them. And I thought, as planned, I got it here, I'm just gonna get over it. Then I'm not gonna have a chance to meet. So I asked my parents if they would let me use the frequent flyer my trip. They didn't, but they let me extend my trip. I stayed in LA. I went to some meetings there. I saw New York. I experienced West Hollywood. I saw my friend Lisa Margaroli. Freddie came up from Irvine. We got to hang out. It was really, really, really awesome. And on the last night there, I met a boy in a mysterious way. I met this boy on Scruff or Grindr. I think Scruff. 21 years old, this kid. I'm just like, oh, come on, what are you doing? You're way too young for me. I'm 38, he's 21, but you know what? I felt such a connection with this guy. His name was Reggie. Reggie, short for Regino. Such a cute boy, and such a great guy. And it was one of those moments where it's like, well, damn, if I lived here, I think I would ask you if you wanted to go out with me. You know, like if you wanted to be my boyfriend. And unfortunately, we only had that one night together. We didn't have a chance to spend any more time together. It's like, where were you this whole time I was in LA? But we keep in touch and we FaceTime and we talk, and I definitely can't wait to see him again when I'm in LA, which I'm gonna do again this May. But so anyway, LA was great. I flew back, finished the velocity course, and right before I went to LA, I don't remember how I did this, but Michael Herron, you know, Michael Herron, whatever he does, I do. When Michael Herron did his first like one-man show at Judson Memorial for their Magic Time series, I was like, oh my God, I want to do it. And I had 9 months to prepare. I didn't know what to do. And then in a week, I came up with what ended up play Virtual Memory, which I don't like the title. I want to change the title. It was a huge success, and I was like, okay, these aren't stories that I'm comfortable telling publicly. But right before in LA, either Michael suggested it or somehow...
In a half mile, keep left at the fork to stay on I-94 East.
Okay, great. Oh, pay toll. I hope I can pay with a card, because I ain't got no cash. Then did Hannibal show Dixon Place, one of those downtown and where it's like
keep left at the fork to stay on I-94 East.
Like only cash.
Miles.
I couldn't get open the cash. Thing in the mom, if you get just gonna touch that. Show to this the Hot Festival, a queer play festival at Dixon Place. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, whatever, this thing, you know, I have a couple video clips of the show and I have the rough outline of the script, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think I actually had to type up this, no, the script was typed. But, so I sent him that. I sent him a little bit of like what the show is about. And as soon as I hit submit, I had this thought where I thought, damn it. There's no way they're not gonna accept this play. I wasn't even thinking of it as a play, by the way. Like, there's no way they're not gonna, it's too perfect. It fits, not like egotistically, but it fits what they're looking for so perfectly. And I know it had such an impact on the people that saw it. I'm like, there's no way they're not gonna accept this. And I didn't think anything of it. Well, I go out of town. I come back 2 months later. By now it's probably like June. They give me a call and they're like, we would love to do your play. And at first I was like, my play? Like, wait, you mean that thing, the series? Because they weren't allowing any solo artists on the main stage. So I had to do it in the lounge, which means I had to condense my show to 60 minutes because my show had to start after the main stage production and it had to end before the main stage production ended. Otherwise, I'd have an audience coming through my show. And I told them, I'm like, I hate to pass this opportunity up. My voice is going to be so sore by the time I get to Chicago. I hate to pass up this opportunity, but there's no way I can condense this show to 60 minutes. I just can't. And I'm like, why can't I have the main stage? And they said, well, originally they're like, we can give you the main stage, but maybe we'll do it like a week or two after the festival, and then it'll just be a standalone production. I'm like, okay, perfect, let's do that. We'll do it in late August. Because I was going to go to Iceland the beginning of August, and then I would do this when I got back. Well, then they called me back a few days later, and they're like, we've extended the festival until August 4th, and you could do it on the main stage. I told them, they're like, why? I said, why can't I do it on the main stage? And they said, there's no way any solo performance is gonna sell out or sell enough seats to justify taking up the main stage. To which I said, hold my beer. Watch this. So by Six Flags. And I said, look, I had like 85 people at the reading of this show a year prior, or however many years prior. And I'm like, I know, I've met at least 200 people since then. Am I reconnected? And am I reconnected? And I'm reconnected, great. So basically I gave them my word. I'm like, don't you worry, I will sell out the main stage. So they let me do the main stage. Now mine is the only solo performance on the main stage, and my show is the final performance concluding a 5 or 6 week festival. I'm making it, but I'm very happy to make that mean like I am closing out the festival. They never last. And spreadsheet, I'll never forget what this director Tom Amici told me. All of his shows were sold out in this one festival we did together. And I asked him, like, how did you sell out? And he's like, personal phone calls. Anyone can ignore a Facebook invite or a postcard or an email. But when I call someone and I'm like, hey, what are you doing on this night? It's really hard, especially when they feel personally invited. Now, I didn't exactly do it the way he suggested, because I'm like, I thought, okay, I'll spend this many hours per day making this many phone calls. But I didn't end up doing that. What I ended up doing is making a spreadsheet, and I just emailed, or I messaged 560 people on Facebook. And some people I text messaged, and some I called, and some I emailed, and whatever. But I made a spreadsheet, because I didn't set out to do this, but after a while I kind of realized, oh, the only way I'm going to be able to keep track of everyone's responses is if I make a spreadsheet, so I know who I've been contacted. So I messaged 500, kept track of every yes, every maybe, and every no. And then said, okay, ticket on. Before I did this, the theater 3, they're like, girl, the theater holds 100 people. In my mind, I only have 6 tickets sold. Do you need ideas for how do you need us to help you promote? What do you need? And I was like, oh shoot, I really don't want to disappoint them. This is 3 weeks that I should have spent working on the script, rehearsing with my director, memorizing my 90 minutes or 80 minutes of monologue rather, and staging. But instead, that 3 weeks got taken up just focusing. Word out. Wong told me, he's like, welcome to being a producer. This is how difficult theater is. He's like, this is why a publicist is someone's job. Like, someone makes a full-time job of being a publicist. Because it was a full-time job for 3 weeks. Every day, messaging people, following up with people, recording their responses. But I made this spreadsheet, which I still have to this day. And I used formulas. So I would enter how many tickets each person bought once they confirmed that they bought them. That would update the top of the spreadsheet so I could see total numbers sold. And then I had a countdown on the right. How many more do I have to sell to reach 120 tickets? And I keep in mind, it only holds 100 people. I thought it held 120, so I was aiming past 100. And basically, every yes I had them confirm that they bought their ticket. And if I didn't hear back, I kept checking back in with them until they told me, okay, my ticket is bought. And then I kept reconfirming the yeses. I had a few people drop out who couldn't make it, so they're like, I'll donate your ticket. So I a recording of who's coming that has a donated ticket. Anyone who was a maybe, I would re-follow up with them every week or so, or twice a week, to be like, hey, did you find out? Did you find out? And then the no's, I just got that they were a no, and I'm like, okay, it's a no, I won't follow up with them again. And then the people who responded, but not really with a yes or no, just kind of like a thumbs up or a cool, I would follow up with them as well. And then the people who didn't respond at all, I would message them again. And then some of those I would like reach out by phone or email or reach out another way or by text. So basically, a week before the show, and you're on, like, they're like, we're very close to sold out. We can either call it sold, or we can put in an extra row of seats in the front on the stage level. And I was like, extra seats. I want anyone to be one of seats. Come and see it. They review, and I does not share I failed do more work. And if I did the work, intensely satisfying theater. So well done. And I had a friend from Playbill who was coming to see my show, but his train got stuck and he never made it. Which is probably the best of him. Well, I'll get to that. But I did my show. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hang on. So that was the process of getting ready to do my show. Back up a bit. June. Friends Sarah Andrews and Madison really she was on the board of the Madison Vegan Mania, whatever they call it, Madison. Wanted to book Honey LaBronx the event and or be the event. But the board was like, right, having a drag queen, are you sure that's on me? And as much as I needed the money and I was like, oh my God, this is an opportunity for me, I had a contract in front of me that I could sign, and I would have gotten my asking rate to be not a speaker, but to the event. And I'm like, no. They only wanted me, and I'm like, no. Strothman is not some game show. I'm seeing, you know, I would do in-track. And so I said, thank you. This offer. And so Sarah, I'm like, you know what? Screw. I'm going to come anyway in full drag. I'm going to find some bar in town to do my drag show, and I'm going to do it as a fundraiser. And I'm going to raise $1,000 for the. On you go. So we started making plans. And I realized money for an organization that doesn't want me. Why not this for Heartland Farm Animal Sanctuary in Verona, Wisconsin, just outside Madison? I've been meaning to do a fundraiser with them, and God bless them, they were like hoping that they could get me to come out there. But I'm like, look, I can't do this for free, and I can't pay for my own flight to come out there for free. But don't worry, I actually have another idea. I'm planning to do my own fundraiser in June. So I'm like, screw it, I'm switching the beneficiary to Heartland Farm Animal Sanctuary. And then Sarah's like, I want to add another beneficiary. Let's also add Wisconsin Wild Care. They're a smaller organization, they could really use the money, they could really use the publicity. So I did 2 beneficiaries. I booked 5 nightclub in Madison. they let me do my show right before a pageant that night. They even pushed the pageant back to accommodate our show. And so, all right, I've got a venue, I've got 2 beneficiaries, and I'm freaking out because now I have to come up with all this material and sew some new outfits and make some new hair and blah, blah, blah. Ms. Cracker helped me make some new hair. My friend Nicole Bell from Landmark, she's a fashion designer. She showed me how to make a circle skirt. I made a circle skirt, which I love. I made it out of neoprene. And then I made, using the circle skirt idea, I made this wonderful quick change coat. It's like a cover-up that reveals my outfit. And I didn't come up with any new material. I'm trying, but I did come up with a new song that I could perform to, 2 new songs that I could throw into the mix. So I have 2 new songs now that I do. Ooh, wow, almost used up a quarter tank of gas. And it's almost an hour after my ear. So, and the Veg Fest was livid when they heard that I changed the beneficiary. And I took out a full-page ad in their Veg Fest. My uncle, and it turns out the funeral was the same day. And I was at the funeral and then get my main car on the way to Madison. It just didn't work out, and I couldn't go to the funeral that morning, which I deeply regret. And in retrospect, I shouldn't have tried. I should have gone to Madison the night before so I could be ready to go and start getting ready early in the morning. Because I didn't do it that way, I ended up running and only I didn't have time to make it to the Veg Fest to put in an appearance. And I know here I would have gotten so I could have doubled the amount I raised, but whatever. Anyway, so I made like 600 and I raised as much. Split with
4 East.
Yeah, 994 East, right. I hope this toll I can actually pay. So it was a huge success, and now I realized like I've created a new business model. By the way, the reason I had this idea is my friend Joshua.
Keep left.
One second, I got I'm going to use. Pay toll.
Continue on I-94 East for 3/4 of a mile.
Okay. I'm going to keep right, but I'm on the right way. All right, we're now at 1 hour. Because of the velocity.
1.5 mile. Keep
Some people's
stay on
brains. I picked
I-94
Michael
East.
Heron's brain, and I picked Josh's brain, and I didn't really feel like I was getting the feedback I needed. But then Josh said something interesting. He's a very successful cabaret performer in New York City. And he said, well, I have this show.
Keep left at the fork.
The Rat
On
Pack,
I-94 East.
and I have these, because that's 4 characters, I can do spin-offs, like a one-off, like one night with Dean, one night with Sammy, one night with Frank.
Continue on I-94
And he
East
said,
for
my
21
most successful
miles.
model has been doing 50-50 shows. And I said, what's a 50-50 show? He's like, half of the money goes to charity. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What if I did a drag show and half the money went to charity? And so that's what I did in Madison. All right, it says cash, but I'm hoping I can pay with card.
Head east on I-94
Let's
East.
find out.
Continue for 21 miles.
Hi, can I pay with a credit card? How do I do this then? I'm.
If you have no money,
You know what? I happen to have 2 singles. I'm a lucky guy. Are there any other tolls on the way? Okay, thank you so much. Hey, another question for you. I'm sorry to hold up the line. I went through one back there, but I couldn't get into the cash lane, and I don't have an easy pass. So what happens? Do I get a ticket or something? Oh, thank you. Because this is my mom's car. She's gonna get this from New York City. I drive once a year.
crazy.
Yeah.
She won't pay it, then the tickets will start coming in.
Oh, I'm so glad I asked.
Tickets double every month. They get to a couple $100, then they wean the car.
Okay.
And then you're fucked your money.
Well, it serves her right for voting for Trump.
Lawyers to do.
I'm kidding.
Okay,
Oh,
this information that's
awesome.
the code you would have missed.
So I can pay it online. The same as what it would have cost?
Same if you do it within 7 days, it doesn't cost
Awesome.
anything, then you can use your credit card.
Awesome. Gregory, thank you so much for working on New Year's Eve. Thanks, you too. Awesome. I just happen to have $2 cash. Great. So, and now I can pay that other toll. So anyway, I had this idea. I'm like, awesome. So, oh, and here's the other thing that helped. The previous summer, when I got back from Berlin and Iceland doing my speech, I reached out to Victoria Moran for some support. God bless Victoria Moran. She's just a wealth of knowledge. And apparently her favorite thing into the world to do is just to give away that knowledge. You know, she's just, I can't believe she's my friend. Which reminds me, I have to call her tomorrow. Anyway, so, she told me, she's like, well, congrats on becoming a speaker, but you should know people don't make their living from speaking fees. And I'm so upset, Victoria, you're here. She's like, the way they fly you out, they put you per diem if they hire you to speak at events, and they might give you, you know, a modest fee, a little bit, but the thing is, booth there at or whatever you have, and that's how you make your money. Well, she has a one does now, and so theater the night and she'll play, and that's how she. So I realized for the 50/50 show, I thought, oh, I got a second like. Look at that. Yeah, for a 50/50 show, I thought, what a brilliant idea. I'm sorry you can't see me right now, but I'm right here. Here, I thought, fly me out to do a veg fest. An after party later as a fundraiser for some local animal groups. So after the show, and then as long as I was there, I did my speech just free of charge because I was myself. And plus it's Wisconsin, these are my people, I'm happy to do it. So I did my speech the next afternoon at a coffee shop, or the next evening, whenever. Doing my speech. The next morning, going for breakfast and a booth at the fest, so I can, you know, meet people before and after my speech. I can sell my products, whatever. And they're like, yeah. So I got my rate and booth at the fest. And I said, hey, and also I would love to do an after party that night as an official after party for the festival as a fundraiser for some local animal groups. And they said, well, unfortunately, another group is already doing that as a fundraiser for themselves. But why don't you do a kickoff party the night before? So the kickoff party. So now basically, here I am. I'm in Maddish doing and next one. I finished my speech. I got paid really well for the show. The next one, Atlanta, out of nowhere, calls Blue to hire. Atlanta is the biggest veg fest in North America. And now they've booked me. They've agreed to bring me out, putting me up at the expo to go ahead kickoff party the night before. So I find some local animal rescue. I start setting it up. It's a go. Now around this time, Knoxville, Tennessee, someone reaches out to me on behalf of the Knoxville Farmed Animal Save, and they said, hey, we were gonna do the Knoxville event, we canceled it this year. We'd love to just do an event, bring you out to do your. Now, I'm like, I'm gonna be in Atlanta. So if you can do it on this date, I think it was like October, if you can do it on this date, you won't have to pay to fly me out there. I'll already be there, just a 3-hour drive away. So they're like, okay, great. And they asked my rate, and I confirmed it, and they had no problem. They gave me my rate. And I said, and as long as I'm there, I'd love to do a fundraiser show the night, that same day or the night after, as a fundraiser for some local animal groups. So, okay, I got that set up. So now I have 4 gigs lined, basically. The Atlanta Veg Fest, a kickoff show, a speech in Knoxville, Tennessee, and a fundraiser show in Knoxville. So that the works. And around that time, I also got a call from the National Animal Rights Conference in Washington, D.C., asking not if I can be a speaker in their main stage entertainment at the closing night festivity. So they're hiring the vegan drag queen as the official closing conference in Washington. He is there, James Aspie is there. It's the who's who of the animal rights. The closing night entertainment leader, who was supposed to be my special guest that night, and they had to drop out last minute. And they asked me, like, what do we do? Who should we get to do the show with you? And I'm like, well, you know, Mistress Ginger, the other vegan, I call her the other vegan drag queen, but she's been vegan. She's from Minnesota. She's gonna be at the conference. Why don't I ask her to join me? And it'll be the 2 vegan drag queens doing a drag show. I asked her, she said yes. I had her contact them about payment, so I don't know what she got, but I'm glad, you know, she was able to get work. So anyway, so I got that lined up too. So now let's back up a bit. I'm getting ready to do my show in August. A few weeks before, my friend Henry decided he's moving back to Palestine. And before he moves, he wants to visit Iceland for Gay Pride. And he asks if I'm going to go with him. I'm like, well, yeah, the Reykjavik Vegan Festival is always the first week or so of August. Well, it turns out they had canceled the Vegan Festival in 2017. They weren't doing it that year. So I call Henry like a few weeks before. I'm like, I can't go to Iceland with you. He's like, the only reason I'm going is because you said you'd be going. He's like, listen, if I can stay with whoever you're, and if you guys can round Iceland, there's no way I can say no to this. There's no way I can say no to this. So I said, yes, let's do it. And I'm like, if I'm going to go to Iceland, I'm going to go for as long as I can. The 8-week trip in Iceland. It's the longest I've ever stayed in Iceland. And I had nothing. I'm like, this is really stupid. Let me, where I'm supposed to go. 1 second. Finish. So, I agree, or I have, who's saying it, ready to do. The soul's making any money on it. I got like a stipend, but like that makes. Another thing that during the velocity course, which I'm still in until May, was I got myself on Patreon. By about May, I had launched my Patreon, and I'd already orders like $10 a month. You have a lot of catching up to do. You're 74 minutes into this. But I and something and reconnecting